I mean, was this game different? Did you realize this is a pivotal game 5? We have to have it. And did it feel like that the Pistons sort of figured you guys out?
Well, you know, we were so thin at that time. I mean, Casey had to play the starters almost the whole game. And so our guys were just completely worn out. And we knew we had to win that game. Both teams knew that whoever won game 5 was probably going to win the series. And when you look at, just like Golden State in the last couple years, they go to 5 straight finals. Well, the Celtics had been to the finals in 84, 85, 86, and now it's 87. We're all beat up. The guys that are playing are hurt. It was just guts. It was just a guts and pride. We weren't even close to having the manpower and the stamina that we had the year before. So, it was just a matter of pride to go in. We weren't going to lose on our home court.
Now, we know revisionist history is they're the bad boys. They played tough. They played physical. Was that something that you guys felt? Because I'm watching all these old games right now, Jerry, and it seems like everyone played tough. Everyone played physical. Were the Pistons different than the rest of those teams?
No, well, maybe from the standpoint they were a little dirtier. I mean, they took it right to the limit, but it was like that anyway. I mean, the Philadelphia, Boston games, the series, they were incredible. I mean, the Eastern Conference was the physical conference, and then the Western Conference was, the more wide open type of basketball. They were in those days, especially, there was really a lot of difference between the style of basketball in the West and the East. So Milwaukee was physical. The Pistons were physical. Philadelphia was physical. So it wasn't that much. But, later on, they kind of coined the term the bad boys. And a lot of it probably started from this series. And then they eventually worked their way up to where, they were an elite team in the league.
Take me through your mindset when the turnover occurred and the Pistons had the ball and you thought they were in control.
Well, what happened at the other end of the floor was what I was thinking about almost as much as anything. You try to move on to the next play. All players are taught that, but I was on Isaiah Thomas and he went one-on-one against me at the top of the floor at the other end. Trying to remember who. Obviously it was Danny. Danny was out. I can't remember if he fouled out or if his knee was bothering him again. So I was in the game and, I thought I played pretty good defense, and Isaiah didn't get in the paint, and he took a contested jump shot, and it went in. So, going down to the other end, we just had to score on that possession, or the game was going to be over. And it didn't happen. Bird gets the shot blocked. The ball gets kicked out. Isaiah and I scrum for it. I guess it probably went off my leg. I go into the stands. And when I get back out on the court to try to defend the inbounds, I mean, we had to press all over. Detroit should have called a timeout, Brian, because they had a timeout left. They could advance the ball down to the other end of the floor. There's a shot somewhere. There's a photo that I saw that Chuck Daly is standing by their bench with his hands up, calling timeout. Isaiah, I remember to this day, he's standing there like this to the referee, give me the ball, give me the ball, give me the ball. And he had a smirk on it. He knew the game was over, and he almost had a smile on his face when they gave him the ball, and he did not see Bird at all. And Bird was moving right when he was inbounding the pass. And when you look at it from a couple different film angles, I mean, he threw it right to him on the move. And I had my back to where he was stealing the ball. So when I turned around, I was probably more shocked than anybody in the whole stadium that Bird had the ball in his hands. And all I could think was, don't go towards him, because I would have brought Isaiah. I thought maybe he would drive right. But then Dennis Johnson cut right down the middle of the floor. Dennis Johnson and Larry Bird were in cahoots their whole career in terms of knowing where each other was on the floor. They were always looking for each other. And Dennis used to run the floppy action, and Larry would be in it. And Dennis would have the ball at the top, and he'd throw that pass right down the gut when the defender's head was turned that everybody, used for years in the NBA. But those guys kind of started that. And they just knew where each other was. And Dennis cut at the perfect time. Bird gave him the ball, and he scored. I mean, it was, the game was over. We had lost, and then we won.
This young Pistons, they were tough. They had scores. Isaiah Thomas was competitive. What were your guys' opinion of this Piston team in 87?
Oh, they were fun to play. I mean, I'm not sure. Like the Lakers, the Pistons got the Celtics crowd going, and the Celtics got the Piston crowd going, and it was two teams that were very tough physically and mentally, and it was a battle of wills. And the steal that Larry makes to win the game, getting it off to DJ is, in my opinion, the greatest single play that Larry ever made, because it epitomized everything about Larry.
I mean, how did he do that? Like, if you watch the play over and over, it just seems like a simple side out of bounds. Like, what was his strategy? Have you seen him do things like this all the time in practice or in other games? It seems so unlikely for a team in that moment to make the turnover like that.
No, I mean, we were very fortunate, obviously, but Larry just didn't give up. That was what made it so great. It wasn't the actual play itself. I mean, he's made many steals. He has great anticipation, but just the fact that he's not giving up. Most people's heads are hanging and, go, oh, all they got to do is inbound the ball and we lose the game. And Larry gets the steal and hits DJ, who was alert, and makes it lay in. And that was an incredible win. Unbelievable.